One of the most common questions we get here at eFix is this: how do I retrain to become an electrician as an adult? First, congratulations. Seriously, even thinking about coming into our industry puts you in a strong position, because right now we are crying out for more electricians across the UK. Now, before we get into it, a quick disclaimer. The rules around becoming electricians do change over time. So whenever you're watching this, just double check the latest guidance to make sure you're on the right path. Right, let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is ask yourself a real simple question. What's the end goal? Are you looking to be an electrician's mate, a fully qualified electrician, or do you want to go self-employed and run your own electrical business, or become a domestic electrician? Because the route you take depends entirely on where you're trying to get to. So pick the destination first, then work backwards from what potential employers will expect. Now, if you're aiming to be an electrician's mate or labourer, technically you might get away with just a basic health and safety qualification via something like the ECS card. But in reality, most employers want you to have at least some electrical knowledge. So even entering at that level, getting a bit of training under your belt at a college or private training provider is a massive help. If your goal is to become a fully qualified electrician in its truest sense, whether that be employed or self-employed, then the route's the same. And the gold standard is still an apprenticeship. As an adult, that usually means an adult apprenticeship. So you'll be working in all aspects of the electrical industry whilst attending college on day release or block release. You'll build up your knowledge units in college, and at the same time you'll be gathering evidence on site to prove your practical competency. An assessor will either come out to see you on site or assess you remotely via a video link. It just depends on the training provider. Once you've completed both your knowledge and practical units, you'll move on to an AM2S, which is your endpoint assessment. This assessment is done under proper examination conditions over a few days and covers things like safe isolation, electrical testing and fault finding. Pass that and you're a qualified electrician. But I did mention a domestic electrician earlier. So what's that? Well, the evidence gathering is very similar to what we've been talking about, but the knowledge and performance units are focused on domestic work and not commercial and industrial. This route leads you to a variation of AM2, snappily called AM2D. This domestic course can typically take less time to complete, around 2 to 3 years, but does limit the scope of work that you can carry out, and not all training providers offer this course. So you're sitting there thinking, that's great, but I can't see myself getting an adult apprenticeship anytime soon. Don't panic. There is another route to become fully qualified, but you'll need to be realistic at some point. You must be working in the electrical industry alongside an electrician. What you can do is enroll with a college or private training provider to start building your knowledge units. That'll be typically done through awarding bodies like City and Guilds or EAL. And honestly, don't get hung up with which one. They're both assessed to the same standard. Some providers will start you at level 1 and some at level 2, but ultimately you're aiming for a level 3 qualification. Now here's where lots of people go wrong. They attend college for 2 or 3 years and don't even try and get a job in the industry. That is a massive mistake. The best time to get experience was yesterday, and the next best time is today. Get yourself out there, start knocking on doors, sending emails, making calls, whatever it takes. You need that on-site experience alongside your studies. It's also essential to understand the industry has tightened up its requirements. There used to be ways of saying you were qualified by just doing the knowledge side at college and then trying to get signed off through competent person schemes offered by the likes of the NIC, EIC or NAPIT. That loophole has now gone. There are no shortcuts anymore. You need both the knowledge and practical experience to call yourself an electrician. So in terms of a rough timeline, somebody starting at 16 from school might be qualified in about 4 years. As an adult, you might spend 2 or 3 years getting your knowledge from college and then around 12 to 18 months building your performance units via an NVQ whilst working on site. Once you've done that, you'll take AM2. The assessment is much like the AM2S mentioned earlier, and that's you qualified. But here's the thing, that's not the finishing line, that's the start. The industry now has Electrician Plus, and this is where you really stand out. We're talking qualifications in things like solar PV, battery storage, and EV charging. All of those additional skills that will make you more valuable to our industry and open up more opportunities to you. On top of that, I strongly recommend, after being qualified for a couple of years, doing a testing and fault finding qualification, especially if you want to get into electrical inspections like EICRs. Just make sure you check the experience requirements before jumping on those courses. Now you might be thinking at this point, right, I've made it. But the reality is the industry is moving fast, really fast. And if you stand still, you get left behind. So the key is continued professional development, or CPD. Keep learning, keep improving, keep adding strings to your bow. So whether you're just starting out or you're already on the tools, go and check out the link on the screen, because in less than 60 minutes, you can add more electrical knowledge, more understanding, and take another proper step forward into your journey in the electrical industry.